Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Let me finish setting up all the things that I need to, including moving the mic so it's better. But it will get in my way, so I'll need to move it so it won't be better in a minute. I need to do something with all of these wires because they're absolutely in my way. Okay. So this is up. That's up. Let me... I did not close my window, so let me do that too. 1 second. All right, so today I'm just gonna do some galaxy stuff. Gonna play around. I have no like super big plans. Nothing specific. I'm just going to tape down some paper and see where we go. That's the plan. The plan is there is no plan. No, I'm kidding. Now the plan is just for the galaxy stuff. Yeah. I don't know how many people out there are like science geeks, like if you follow science at all or space stuff in particular. But there's been some new images, right? From the I can't word. From the new, not the Hubble, the Thomas. Where are all my words? Why do I have the worst memory known to mankind? It's because I'm trying to concentrate here. All right, yeah, from the telescope, right? No. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Hubble telescope. So it was taken over, not taken over. There's a new one out there. And because I have the worst memory, the James Webb Space Telescope. And there's been some new images coming from there. And some of them are just crazy. Like, really ridiculously interesting images, especially for the place, the galaxy or the gas cloud where the stars are created, you know? And so that's got me kind of in a space mood. And so I figured I would just play around. I've done this. I have a few paintings of like galaxies and colorful night skies and things like that. But I don't know. Can you really ever have enough? I'm not sure. Maybe one of these days I'm actually going to hang one in my own house. I don't really do that so much. I should, but I don't. So that's what we're doing today. And I'm going to double tape this because now this tape will be the border on this piece of paper, and then this tape will help secure it to the board. So we're going to get a lot of warping anyway because I'll be drying this with the heat gun. So warping is inevitable, but we would like to save as much of it as we can, right? Because otherwise I have to re-wet the whole thing, like before I scan them in and stuff. And then let them dry slowly, but under like weights so that they're kind of flat. So when they scan in, they get the best possible picture. Yeah. And the other day I was chatting. I have like a weekly appointment with a friend of mine in the US. Every my night, her afternoon, every Wednesday. So we chat, and I was chatting with her, and I was painting, doodling, and I came up with a picture of purple flowers, and I actually really quite like it. I think I'm going to go back and add some kind of definition and different colors into the leaves. And I was thinking about putting some gold in the center of these. But yeah, this was just a doodle, not really caring. And I honestly, it's one of my favorite things so far. So yeah, do something with that as well. So I'm just going to use any colors that I have like on my palette, and I'll probably dig into some yellows as well. And I really don't have any like specific plans per se. I just know that I want to do nighttime galaxy kind of spacey stuff. And watercolor is like one of the best, I think, one of the best mediums for it. Because you can get those soft, cloudy like transitions, and depending on the transparency of the paint, you can get some really cool layering, like which really happens. So, but it's a little warm today, so, and because the workers are still on my roof, they're walking around like painting and doing finishing up stuff, so they're going to be gone next week, they said. And I'm really excited about that. But because they're still here and there's still road construction and my door is closed, my window's closed, it's really hot in the room, or warm. So I'm going to put a lot of water down. And then I haven't prepped anything. So let me just add some water into these wells and get them going. I think purple is always good for night sky. And then I'm going to probably dig into to some of my blues and just mix them up before coming over to like a Payne's Gray or Moon Glow. I really do like Moon Glow for these things. So let me get into some yellow, and the yellow I'm using is lemon yellow because it is transparent. I'm just going to go directly from the pan and kind of move it around a little bit. And then because I don't want colors to clash with it, I'm going to dip into, this looks like a Quin Rose or Carmine or something. And I'm going to just drop some of this in here because when it mixes, it'll make like an orange or a coral, right? And not anything that will clash, right? Just take some water and smooth those edges out. Let the water move it. This is like one of those times where you can just really let the paint do what it wants. This is like this is a green, but it's very diluted. So, and I just want to be careful where I put that, right? I don't red and green make brown. So and add a little water, smooth those edges. I got a little close there to that red, but we'll fix it. And then I'm going to pull in some Quin Deep. I don't have a space for this, but so it's going to go right here and mix with the brown. And mix with the green. And I'll just put enough I'll add some new gamboge to lighten it up. And I'm going to put some of this orange here in the center. So this red and yellow can mix okay. And this is also the time where you would like some of these like spider webs and stuff. Like when the paints blend together. And I'm going to take, this looks like a Mayan blue or lunar blue. It was on my palette. I'm just going to pop some in. And there's not enough water. So I'm going to add more because I want it to move around and play. And blue and yellow make green, and that's okay. I'm just really, oh, it's kind of muddy here. Blue and orange do not make a good color, so just clean that up a little bit. And then down here, I'm going to have some purple. And I have some purple here on this palette as well that I will dig into a different shade, and I'll just concentrate it in some areas. And now I'm just going to kind of move around and like just add a little bit more paint so I can get some deeper colors in places, not everywhere. I do want to have a good like variety of light and dark, and like this is like the spidering. This is like a perfect place for this kind of blending. This is too much water in one area, so I'm just gonna scoop this away and I'll add some more color. But I don't want these. So I think there I'll add some red because that's the best color to kind of sit in there and play with others. Right. That red got really like kind of faded out. So I wanted to add some more color in there because, as you know, it's going to dry much lighter than it looks anyway. So there's a couple of different colors that I'm going to add. And first I'm going to go into Prussian blue. And I'll add fairly diluted and it's still summer vacation. My son is still around, so expect some interruptions. Yeah, buddy.
Look, I'm gonna turn the bone. Look at the bone.
Let me see. Hold on. Is your nose still bothering you?
Look at the bone.
Okay. Wait. Let me see.
There's bone.
I see.
But then hold the bone.
Okay. Here you go. Listen. Focus on Mama here. Come. You have to go ask Papa to say yes. Okay? Close my door, please. Tight. All right, so I expect that will happen, I don't know, 3 or 4 more times because, you know, the self-control of kids is non-existent. And this has already started to dry, so now just gonna come in. I'm extending this blue a little bit so I can get some greens in here. And I think I want to add some more blue up here at the top. And then I got some really nice green, right? I'm just going to extend a little bit. I'm not going to go further than that though. But I am going to just kind of soften these edges a little bit. I'm going to soften on this side of it, but not over there. I'm not going to go past. I'm not doing this area here. Just, and this is a stronger version. And here we go. Yeah, buddy.
Papa, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Papa said yes. Right, so okay, go in the kitchen, shut my door, Mama will approve it. Go ahead.
I have a phone.
Yep, my phone is currently busy. Hold on a second, guys. I know the camera's going to move a little bit. And I might actually disconnect you. I'm hoping I don't, but I can't see. I need to slide this just a little bit. Okay. Now back. Almost done. Still on. Still looks pretty good. Okay. Sorry. I expect, like I said, for that to happen a few more times. And can't say I'm going to be really pleased when it does, but it's summer vacation, and you know, that's how it goes when you have kids. So I put in some purples here. I think it was Quinn Purple, and so I'm going to take a chance. Actually, I think it was both. I think, yeah, it was Quinn Purple. I think I'm going to actually go in for both, because why not? Just gives a little variation, right, in the tones. And purples always, not always, but genuinely play nice together. So I want it deeper on the edges here, kind of darker here. So there's some spidering going on over here, and I'm just going to let that be. And I'm going to dry it and see where we are. All right. So now this is dry. The tape is coming up because that's what heat does to glue. I'm going to take, this probably has a name. I'm going to take my flat brush and I'm going to wet the entire painting all over. And I'm going to make sure that there's a lot of water on there. And I'm not going to go over too many times, right? I don't want to waken this paint, which it's already happening a little bit. You can see like stripes of where the brush has gone, right? But I'm just making sure there's a lot of water on there. And some of it is waking up anyway, but that's okay. All right. So now it's like swimming. And now that it is swimming, I can come in. I'm going to get some more Prussian blue. And it's fairly concentrated mix. It was pretty creamy and now it's like a little bit more watery. And I'm going to drop this down in just on the board. Making sure that I'm going to come through again after and kind of blend where they would be. There's like a puddle of water here, so now I'm just going to take clean water and soften these edges and move the paint a little bit because I want them all to be nice and kind of what word am I looking for? There's a lot of water right there, and I think I'm just going to take this brush and soak up what I can. And this is going to be multiple layers, multiple layers. So I am going to come in with some of these other colors, like in the brighter area, and add more and let them kind of spread out and play a little bit. Because I want to make sure that I can keep these colors, right? I did put a lot more colors down, and then I'm going to kind of slowly encroach on them, right? So I'm just going to pop in colors each time so I don't lose them. But I am going to spread them out. I want them to play. I want everyone to be happy. And I'm going to start coming up here with the blue. Oh, that's purple. I'm just going to put it around the edges. And I do want this area darker. But I want it to play. And this is turned kind of muddy. I just think that these two don't make a very nice purple together. So I'm going to take the red out of there and put in a pretty deep value. Very creamy mix. Not a mix, but of the Prussian blue. And then I'll just lightly soften this. And I think while this is kind of moving, oh, I just drop some water over here, and I think that's actually a good idea. I'm just going to drop some water in there, kind of interrupt the paint a bit, and let the water kind of move the paint away, right? Kind of like faux stars. So while that's happening, I'm gonna mix up a lot more Prussian blue because I'm gonna be using a lot of it. And I'm gonna keep it fairly concentrated because every layer is kind of gonna get a little bit darker, right? And I'm also going to mix up, or at least get prepped, a couple of different grays. I'm going to put some Moon Glow here, which is a really nice, like, this would be like a first layer kind of black. It's like a purpley black. And then I'm not going to get it right now. Or maybe I just should. I'm going to mix up both of the Payne's grays. So just get them prepped. And I say both because I have one from Daniel Smith and one from Winsor & Newton, and they look the same, and they really don't. So this is my Daniel Smith one. And the Winsor & Newton one. And I don't know if you can see the difference between them or not, but one is more blue, the other one is more kind of neutral-ish gray, or like Moon Glow without the Moon Glow is made from like a rock, so when it dries it has a sediment, and it's like colors mixed together, right? So you have to keep mixing it to keep it the color that you want it to be. And I'm just gonna start, this is, oops, and I just mix some blue in there. So okay, I'm just gonna start dropping it along the edges, like of where the night sky is going to pop in. I think I'll use darker down there because I think this is just too light. So it'll be like a light transition, right? Am I saying right a lot? What's up with me? This area has kind of dried. It's just damp right now. So the color will go down and it will blend, but it won't move as much. So then it just starts to slowly get darker, right? This is dry over here, but I'm going to break up this area now. I'm going to do that with Moon Glow. And what I'm going to do is just kind of drop it in. This is dry, so I'm going to stay away from there as much. And I'm just going to start to drop it in where it's still wet. I'm going to let it move because you want this color peeking through, but you need it to peek through something, right? So, and then I'm not going to dry this right away. This is dry. And I said I was going to stay away from there, but I lied, obviously. Did I lie or did I just change my mind? I'm going to take some water and just soften this. And then I'm going to take some clean water and just go over the yellow. And then more clean water and just along the edges here. Just soften this up. So it's like more kind of fading out, right? I am saying right a lot today. I think that's a new thing for me, but so like that. I'm going to give this a minute because I want this to move as much as possible before I dry it. So, and I just added water, so I'm going to just give it a little bit, 30 seconds or something. Then I'll get a drink in the meantime. Normally I drink water. Today I have a lime Coke. Not normal for me. Today is a different kind of day. It's Friday, I think. Yep. It's Friday and I've already been out since early with my son doing errands. I had to feed one friend's cat and then water another friend's plants because it's July and everyone's away. And then I needed to go shopping and I forgot some things. So after I'm done streaming, I have to go shopping again. Because you can't have fajitas, which is what I'm making tonight, without sour cream, right? Right. All right, now I'm going to give this a dry.
No.
One second, my son is here and I'm going to mute for this one. So I will be right back and then I'll finish drying.
Okay.
Okay. Back to drying. All right. So now that's what, second, third layer down. So now, I have a bucket under my desk that I put my feet up on. And it was fighting me. All right, so now, there's a lot of paint on here. It's really starting to get very, like, thick and concentrated. So I am, again, going to go in with flat brush, wet everything, and then I think this is going to be the last layer. And then I'm just going to start adding in blues and blacks. And we'll take it from there. And I really, again, want to be very careful that I don't really reawaken what's underneath because I don't want it to be a mess of color, right? I need to stop saying right. I want it to be the colors that they are, where they are, and then add colors on top. So now that is extremely wet. Extremely, extremely wet. Actually, probably a little too wet. So just going to go along the sides and see how much I can take up without touching the painting. That's better. What I'm looking for and what I'm trying to pick up is just puddles. I want it wet. I don't want it drowning. All right, so now I'm gonna take actually, this is number 12. And I have some really concentrated Prussian blue here. And I'm gonna drop this in areas where there's gonna be a lot of blue. And then we'll move it around. But we are also going to move it around with some of the other colors, right? We're going to I added a bunch of water to my brush, and I need to make sure that I get back in here as well, right? Because it can't just be a whole like clear thing of color. So this is the rest of the moon glow, and there's not much there, so I should get a little bit more. And go back in these areas and darken these like these areas that I put it down in before a little bit more. And the paint's going to move, and it's going to kind of just give a see-through. Because once I come in with a little bit of water, then we'll get that like nice kind of like faded soft edge. And then I will start to come in. This is Daniel Smith Payne's Gray. I've picked up some blue paint there, but that's okay. Pop this around in areas, and then this is like, so like the grays or the blacks have like kind of for me 3 levels. The moon glow is like the first level, and then this one is like the second one, and then the Winsor and Newton Payne's Gray will be like the third level, so like the darker one for this painting anyway. For me, there is a lot of paint. There's a puddle of paint here, but I actually like how dark that is, so I'm going to ignore it for now and see what it does, and just again soften up this paint that I just added. And I think I'm just gonna clear out a little bit there. I'm going to drop some more Prussian blue over here. And now I am going to come in with the final. I'm going to stay away from that puddle right now, but I'm going to drop in. This is the Winsor & Newton Payne's Gray. So all the areas that I really want it to be the darkest, this is where that's going. And then these other colors will kind of be like the intro. No. So it'll be like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm going to ignore it. I cannot word today. But you know, it's not like I'm a professional streamer or anything, so I don't actually feel too bad about it. Just a girl doing some painting, trying to inspire. And now this is a very concentrated Payne's Gray, right? This is going to be my black of the sky. And I want there to be some really strong blacks in the middle as well, because that'll be some nice contrast. And then we're gonna just soften everything and kind of move it along so it all connects and plays nice. It has soft edges. I want to really make sure that I get as much as I can along the edges here, but there's this like puddle, so and that looks horrible, doesn't it? I'm just trying to have some of this like orange that we had in here just peek through. The paint is going to move and cover it again, and that's okay. And we can just extend it how we need to. I want to have like that nice like blend, you know, the colors going from, except for where the dark meets this. Then I want it to be more like light, light and cloudy, right? So there's like a good transition. I don't know. I don't really, it's my watercolor journey, learning. So learn with me. You can tell me what I'm doing wrong if you know. I don't know if there really is a wrong per se. think I'm going to clean that up a bit. It's kind of starfishy to me. I don't recommend putting your arm in the painting either. So I think I'm going to play around with this kind of like center area. I was clearing it out and then I actually thought maybe that wasn't the best way to go and maybe I should kind of make it darker. And I have like too much, everything is too neat, right? So I'm trying to get messy a bit. So it has a little bit of a more natural feel. Kind of a chaotic feel with these colors kind of peeking through. Or, yeah. So where I still want color to come, I can just remove some of the dark paint and it will go back into that area, but it'll move more softly, you know. But I don't really like how it's like very clear lines of space. But I'm going to leave this now. This is all we're doing today, so we're just going to try different variations, different techniques, different, you know. We'll do a few of these today. And then go back and see what we liked about each one. I'm kind of torn now looking at this because I see the yellow coming out, right? And part of me wants to make that much lighter. And part of me is like, no. So I'm just going to use this and kind of move some stuff around or pick up some stuff. Actually, I think I might pick it all up. Yeah. Now I just want to let that dry. But this is kind of making and giving some texture into the background. And giving a little bit of chaos in there. And maybe some chaos is good. I don't know. But I think we can try it and see what happens. All right. I'm going to call that done. I think if I uh, do more to it, then I think I've already gone into overworking, and I think if I do more, I'm really going to overwork it. So I'm going to end that one there. But what I will do is put some stars on it. And I have some white on my palette here that I'm going to reawaken. You really can't see that. I think this is just white gouache. So what I'm noticing is that as the paint is like removed from the brush, the droplets are getting smaller and smaller. And I'm really liking that. So I'm going to do a ton of that. Yep. And now I just got my shirt. I do that every time. I really should have like some kind of box or something. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more, but not as much, and see if I can get more of that like really small. And then I'm going to paint some variations in here. So just going to make a kind of large one there. And just make some sparkles, right? Oh, why do I keep saying right? It's not like one of my things. Is it? And I don't even know about it? Actually find this part the hardest. And then I'm going to take some bigger ones. These are all going to dry pretty opaque, right? Pretty transparent. Like, you know, it's not going to be a bright, bright white. But just make some variations. I think I'll make some of these smaller ones kind of have small tails. I think I'm going to need to do it with a thinner brush because in my early days of learning watercolor, this is one of my first brushes, and the tip is a little The tip has seen some use. I've learned a lot. But I'm not going to get I'm not going to get that tip back, right? Oh, what is up with me and right today? And a lot of these little white dots are wet, so I'm trying to be very careful. And not get my hand in them. And I'm just making some of these tips tippier, pointier. And while I have my this is a size 0 brush, make some really thin lines with not a lot of paint just coming out of those. So that's one. And this tape took a beating. Has a lot of paint. A lot of paint under it. So and some of it is still wet too. And this is drenched because of how many times I use that flat brush. So I'm just going to use it to dry off some of this paint so we don't contaminate what's already dried. It also contaminated the edge of the paper. Yeah. This tape couldn't handle the amount of water that I put down. So either I put too much water down or it just couldn't handle it. I probably made an error, I would guess. But does it really matter? I wonder. No. This probably won't see the light of day except for this video or this stream. So learning opportunity. So still think a lot of things are like just too uniform, right? I wasn't kind of chaotic enough in my placement of like blocking things out. And I did want, like, this color came through once I picked up a lot of that color that I had put down, which is nice, but I don't know. I don't know. I love this purple over here. This just looks awesome. So I have to do that again for sure. And I think I will change the colors inside. Or at least kind of stagger them, right? I don't know. Let's see what we do with the next one, right? I'm sorry. I literally have no idea why I keep saying that. Okay. So I'm going to take another piece and then I'm going to do this thing that I've seen many times. I've tried a few times, but it's not taping down your paper. It's instead wetting both sides of your paper and painting that way. I don't know how this is going to work because we're going to need to dry. So maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe I should only use that when I can let it dry naturally. This is not one of those times. I don't know. No, I will be drying it, so I'll tape it down. The other side of the paper one that I just used. I think I'm going to go for some thicker tape this time. I think this one kind of has a tendency to tear the paper if I'm not careful, but I decided I don't like having to flip the board over to take the tape off, so I'm going to be a little bit more careful with the length. And I'm trying to get like the kind of same border size ish. But apparently I'm just really bad at estimating how much tape I need. Get better. Everything is practice. Oh. I did not do well with the border on that one, like how much white space would be left. So we'll try again. This one actually seems a bit thicker. Even a little bit more. That seems better. See, you can learn something in everything. Okay. Night Sky number 2. I think we'll do kind of like a different version. And I think we're going to keep everything lighter. We'll still do multiple layers, but I don't think I'm going to go or try and aim for as dark as I had before. And I think I'm going to kind of bring in some of the purples that we're working with and just do like a really easy night sky. So, still need to wet everything. I'm kind of debating if I should have it horizontal or vertical, because then I could get a lot more variation if it was vertical. But with the current setup of my desk, that's not really the best for everyone's viewing pleasure. So let me see if I can move this and kind of put this here. I should move this too. And I can put that there. And now I need a place for this. Put this over here. All right, so that's a little bit better, right? Put that back. So I am going to start with some, I can't see my paints because of my microphone. I'm going to start with some Prussian blue. Same color as before, but I'm going to go pretty light with it. Nice wash. So I should mention that this is actually upside down. So this lighter part will be the bottom, and this darker part will be the top. And I'm just kind of trying to get a nice gradient going of just this color. I'm just going up and down the whole page from light to dark. And that looks fairly decent, but I am going to go a little bit darker. That's actually a pretty decent gradient, but You know what? I can just paint something at the bottom, some trees or some, yeah, I think that's good. I'm going to stay there for now. And I'm going to dry it. All right. So now that I have my bottom done, I'm not going to add anything more here because I do want it to have nice contrast. If I put a mountain or some trees or whatever at the bottom, it'll be more silhouette-like and it'll be really good contrast to this really light color. However, when I wet this to add more color in, I will have to still, will I though? If you don't want a drying line, you really should wet the whole thing. And this is more like a me working through something than me trying to teach something. But I am going to have like some kind of something somewhere, right? So, do I care if there's a drying line around here since it will be covered? Not really, right? As long as I stay with a darker color down here, it really shouldn't be a problem, right? I think. I don't know. You know what? Let's just try it. So I'm going to just work on the sky like in this area. And then this bottom area here, they'll overlap, will be something, mountains, trees, some kind of silhouette type thing. So I am just going to wet like 3/4 of the page and see. But let's just see, right? So I'm going to add more color up here. I'm not using my flat brush because it's not that big. But I am picking up a little bit of the color. So I want to make sure that I'm using clean water and just continue. And I'm going to stop around here, right? And I did pick up a little bit of paint, but that's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 of the purples that like we did in the last one. So a deeper purple, which I'm just putting on my palette now. And then I'm going to reactivate this kind of lighter one as well. And then I'm going to go in with the Prussian blue as well. So I'm going to use this one first, and I want purple up around this area. And I'm going to go lighter and then use water to blend it. And this might not stay like the same area, but this is around the area where I want the purple to be. So I'm kind of just figuring this out. I have a lot of water. I think I need a little bit more paint. So I want the purple to start around here. I'm going to blend it down. And then we're also going to have like the deeper purple come up and meet it up at the top. But I want more. Oh, I want more paint than water. I want them to blend well. So I'm going to just go back and forth with these colors until they do what I want or play nicer. Like that's pretty good. I think I'm just going to go slightly smaller on the brush because this one holds so much water. And I'm just going down to a 12. So, and let's see. So there's that drying line that I was worried about. But again, do I really care about it? If it's going to go away or be covered. I'm going to add some more Prussian blue. Darker value. Blend it down into this purple. A little less water, more purple. The deeper tone of it. Come in and meet up here. And then this lighter purple. It's more pinky, I think. And then I have a lot of water on my brush. I'm just going to take up so I can blend more down. I think I'm just going to come right here. I'm just going to keep going back and forth. A little bit more paint. And I think I'm going to add some of this Payne's Gray. Okay, so that Prussian blue is really dark. So come back in with my purple, just playing. I think I'm gonna grab some more of this purple because this is actually getting really light in the the mixing palette. A lot of water, a little bit of Prussian blue. Blend it out. And a little bit more Payne's Gray at the top. And that Payne's Gray isn't really coming through as much as I would want because there's just so much water and so much paint there. So I'm going to dry that, and then I'm going to do one more layer with this and see where we get. All right. So actually, I'm not so worried about this dry line, right? Again, going to be covered. I do like how it's lighter here, unevenly. So I think I'm going to just add more color up here. And what I did was get my finger wet and then I dragged it down. So so that I can get more of like the darker Payne's Gray at the top and some more darker blue. I think I'll mix some Payne's Gray in with the Prussian blue. So it'll Payne's Gray, Prussian blue, Payne's Gray mix, Payne's Gray, purple, whatever. It's going to be pretty, I think it's going in the direction that I was hoping for. Hard to say until it's done. So I'm just going to add more water and try not to pull the paint down too much. Just add more clean water, and then I'm not going to get it as wet as it was last time as well because I'm going to be adding water with the paint, right? There I go again with right. So I'm taking a pretty dark, pretty concentrated mix of this Payne's Gray. And that's really as much as I want, right? So now I'm going to take some of this Prussian blue, some of this Payne's gray, and mix it together. And blend down from here. And then I'll go back in with this Imperial Purple. But I'm actually going to mix some in here. And everything is drying, so I have to really move quickly. Just get this wet. Come back in this lighter value purple. And then a little bit of Prussian blue, but just really, I'll use this term, this well. Light. And while I'm here, I'm just going to see if I can scrub away that line so it's not as strong. I'm just creating another line here, but if I actually really wanted to get rid of all lines, I could just take some clear water. There we go. So looking at this now, I just see stripes of color, right? And I don't want that. So I'm going to just add some interruptions. So you can still see the blue. And then down in the purple, I'll take this Prussian blue mix with Payne's gray and interrupt a little bit more. So I think it's a little bit more natural. It was just drying right there, so I think I'm going to try that. Drying up there too. That was too much paint. I kind of lost that transition between the purple and the blue, so trying to get it back a little bit. I'm going to just tilt this a little bit. I think I'm going to dry that there. All right. So I like that. I'm going to leave that. And what I'm going to do is using Payne's Gray. I'm going to put some in the well over here. And I'm going to put a little bit here as well. Payne's Gray has like a weird, it's called Payne's Gray, but it's more like a midnight blue. And I'm going to mix some Prussian blue with the Payne's Gray that's in here. And add some water. And I'm just using dirty water because the water is actually like this color. So I'll load up my brush, and then I'm going to just slide it along. And make a mountain. And take some water and blend this out. So I've actually changed my mind. I was just going to do some trees and the contrast would be nice, but now I'm going to do some trees and some mountains. I'm going to leave that like that and dry it. Then I'm going to add some Payne's Gray to this mix that we had. And I'm going to do mountain or hills or whatever, number 2. And I do have a little bit of a line there, so I actually want to make sure that I get that. I'm just taking the paint off my brush and then taking the water and blending. I'm going back over like these areas so that I can make sure I get like a nice blend down here to the bottom. And I'm trying to keep the color not so dark at the top, which is why I keep concentrating on this line. Okay. Range number 2. Dry it, and I've decided to add a third. This one will be darker. It's going to be just Payne's Gray, fairly concentrated value. And it's going to be more round. So I ran out of paint and I don't want this to dry unevenly. So just making sure that I'm keeping it all the same level of wet, right? Like that. That's going to be the last one. My dirty water is so dirty. But since it's dirty with all the colors that we're using, it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to go down in size. Actually, I think I can stay with, this is an 8. And I'm going to take some Payne's Gray and make some trees. And I'm just going to start with some lines. And I'm going to re-wet this mountain after. And I have to make sure that I go fast and varied. I'm going to take more of this and just wet this mountain, a hill range here. And then come in again with just some pure Payne's Gray. And make the tree. Every time I see people do this, like, their scribbles look really good. But I never think mine do. I think I'm overthinking too much. But really, these trees are just scribbles, right? Just various varying degrees of scribbles and white space. And I've wet this bottom so that there's like the trees kind of blend in there at the bottom. Overthinking it, that's what I'm doing. And that's it. I do want some variation in color in this, so just trying to put some different shades of the same color in there. Lighten some areas up, etc. And that one is done. So now for the top, I'm going to do just some more stars. And I'm going to need to put some more white on here, but I'll activate what I have. My dog is snoring. I don't know if you can hear that. It's pretty cute. I'm not going to go as crazy with the stars as I did on the last one. So just more concentrated up at the top. Smaller down here and less frequent and more here. And these are going to dry later anyway, so like that. I'm going to give it a dry. And I'm going to call this one done. So I really do like the purple. Oh, that's right. I have to be careful with this tape. If my night skies look like this all the time, I'd be pretty happy. I'm sure they look like that somewhere, right? I'm going really slow because this tape is pretty strong, and I'm pretty sure I ripped a few paintings on the sides here by trying to be too rough. My American comes out and I manhandle with brute force, as my husband likes to say. I like that one. I think I'm going to try and do one more. I'm not exactly sure what, but I'm going to tape down for one more. But I'm pretty happy with this. Put this over to the side. Any suggestions? Staying within the space night sky. Like, I'm getting better with the paper. I mean the tape length. I am trying to measure too, so it can be more natural to do less tape. Let go. Okay. About here. I don't want to do like a typical sunset guy. I like to stay with like galaxy kind of night sky-ish thing. So what do we want to do? Let me do a quick Google search. Let me see. Hmm. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Ow, 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 ow. My hair's caught in the elastic and it's pulling. I want to stay with the same colors, right? I want to work like kind of galaxy, kind of night sky thing. But one of the things that I noticed when I was looking at when NASA released those images from the James Webb telescope, I noticed in the sky, and this was, let me see if I can find, so I can tell you what to search for. Images. Here we go. And I don't want the first. Oh. First images gallery. Yes. So. No, so I don't. Yes. The cosmic cliffs in Carina. The Carina Nebula. Oh, I don't think I feel gutsy enough to paint this. Hmm. Actually, you know what? I kind of want to. But no. Oh, I do and I don't. I don't want to. Anyway, if you search for cosmic cliffs in the Carina Nebula, you'll find this image. And what I thought was really interesting when I first saw this was the night sky. Like when most people paint the night sky, they go horizontally, right? But in this image, it had the nebula all down here, and it was like a really bright orange, very distinct, and then the night sky coming up here in various shades of blue, different hues, different values, different everything of blue. But I noticed that there were a lot of like stripes of blue kind of going up, right? And that's not usually how skies are painted. So that's what I want to take a little gander at now. And do I feel gutsy enough to do it though? Yes, I do. And what I'm going to do is just focus on that night sky bit. I was thinking maybe I'll have just like a little bit of the nebula down here, but I'm not feeling, I think that's going to be more time intensive than what I have right now to give. I'll wait until the kid is back in school and in SFO before I take that on, because I think that nebula itself, I won't actually be able to do justice to it at all. But I think just by itself, without the night sky, that's going to take like a long time. So I'm going to work just on the night sky and have it, I'll have something in the foreground here, but something very, very small. But I'm going to work on having like the vertical striations, I guess, in the sky. So that's what I'm going to do. And it's just the sky. So, let's see here. I'm going to start with some water. And I've been working so much with blues and Payne's Gray and stuff that even my clear water now has like a slight tint to it. Which in this case will work fine. And we're going to have a really light value layer. And then we're going to go to some darker lip values. And I'm going to start with a Prussian blue. Because I still, like I said, want to stay in the same families. And this is just for the background gradient of this color, right? So I'm doing it horizontal because that's just the easiest way for me to get that gradient. But I want it darker up at the top and lighter up at the bottom. Lighter down at the bottom. Bottom is down. Now that bottom is not as clear, so I'm going to take some water. I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to see if I can move this up into the dark. Nope, still need water. And move it up a bit. I'm going to stop there. Grab some clean-ish water because it's no longer clean. And go up to meet it. So that is going to be the first pass. This will be the background. And darker at the top, lighter at the bottom. It will get darker than this, but for first pass, that's what I'm going to stay light. We can always add more. And I'm going to dry. Okay. And now this, because I'm having like a little bit of a mental block with this, I am going to turn my page sideways and I'm going to paint this way. Darker colors here, lighter colors here, something along the bottom. It would be really nice if I could keep okay, now I just had an idea. What if I don't actually paint the nebula, but I kind of paint the nebula? I paint the tip of the nebula, right? That would give me like a good place to know when to stop, right? So, and I just really mean like, I can't follow this exactly. So I'm going to just take a chunk of what I see in the nebula. This is just this is New Gamboge, really concentrated, very like thick and buttery. And I'm just kind of eyeballing a section of the nebula. And I'm going to keep going up. And I'm actually going to dry this because I would like to contaminate it as little as possible. So I'd have a better shot. What I really should do is mask it, but again, I probably shouldn't have done this. We'll see. Okay. So as I paint, I need to remember to not touch that and to just go close to it, but not too close. I need to give myself like a place where there can be some water in between. So that's what we're going to try and aim for. Again, staying with the same colors, just Prussian blue. This is New Gamboge. I'll probably bring in some Payne's Gray, and that's it. So what I am going to do is wet this. That's what I'm going to do. Get any paint off of this brush. And I'm going to go mainly right here, and I will come back and kind of detail as close to the nebula as I feel comfortable getting. But make sure there's a decent amount of water there. Oh. Everything's contaminated. And then just follow just above it. And I really hope that I can get this to work. But if I don't, it's really everything is a learning experience. So just going to make sure that there's a lot of water, and I'm going to go from the light to dark vertically, or vertically for the painting. And then I'm going to come in with some Prussian blue, and I'm going to go up and down. Concentrate it up on this right side, and oh, I just failed. Hooray! I'm going more over here because it's going to be much darker all in this area. I don't know if there's anything I can do to fix that. I can try, but I think I'm just going to make things worse. But I'm going to try anyway. Oh! There was a lot of Prussian blue on this brush when I put it in my clean water. So that water is no longer clean. But I'm just going to wet this and take some towel and see if I can blot it away. And I'm less worried about there being variation in the color of the nebula. So, because there's going to be variation in the color of the nebula. So that's pretty good. And later I'll come down and try and fix that line, whether or not I bring the orange up to meet it or whatever, I don't know. But, so now I'm just going to take some water, some dirty water, because all of it is dirty water at this point. And I want to keep some of these like light stripes going up, right? So just taking a clean-ish dry brush, just making sure I keep some of these lines. And then I'll come in with a little bit more Prussian blue. So do you see what I was what I was trying to go for? Like, this painting will be horizontal, but right now I'm just, because this is how my brain works, I need to keep it this way, right? So like this, there's a lot more stripes of color, of like lighter blues coming through, and the sky is kind of going up and down versus horizontal. And this was the thing that I wanted to play with today. So I'm gonna stay just with these colors, but I'm going to, so this one is Prussian blue, right? My water is also Prussian blue. What I'm going to do is just clean out this well here. And just get a little pad wet. And it's tinted blue because that was the clean water. Just clean this out. Because I don't want any purple in this one. I know I said I wanted to stay with the same colors, but I changed my mind. Because that's what we do. Now I'm going to take some of the Prussian blue. And some of the Payne's Gray. I'm going to make it an in-between color like I did before. So really dark. This is mostly still wet. So I could add this in now, but like in this area, it's actually not going to have too much of it. But it's not consistently wet. So what I need to do is dry it and wet it again. I have another heat gun that would actually be better than the one I'm using, but I emboss more than I use that with watercolor, like when I'm making cards, so I keep that one out. Now I'm just going to kind of try and follow along this line with water and wet. And I'm going in this pattern because if there are lines, that only helps us, right? I did get some, oh, that didn't go as I thought. So, oh, that's dirty water. Dirtier water. Not really dirty water. All the water's dirty. All right. Just again, making sure there's enough water. It's already starting to dry in some areas. Okay, so this is the mix. I'm going to add just a touch of water there. And I'm going to come in down, like, or yes, mix. And there's less over in this section. This is more kind of like Prussian blue. But some of these stripes, oh, this is Prussian blue. So it's a mix. Some of these are darker. And I do have to blend with the Payne's Gray anyway, so I'm gonna just do it now. And yeah, I'm gonna bring this very lightly down further, just in some of the areas. And then I'm going to, from here, bring this blue up. In this darker section here. And because this is a space picture, I'm going to take some water and soften these edges. And then I'm going to come through with the dryer brush and make sure that I preserve these like lighter stripes here of light. It's more solid up at the top, so I'm not going to worry too much about that. Kind of like that. I think I need to play around with the blues a bit more. I made this really light so that you could see like the stripes coming through, but it's actually quite a pretty blue. Well, like Prussian blue. So I need to get a little bit more color in between the stripes without ruining the stripes. They're a little too uniform right now for my liking, but I could just add a bit of color and make them a little bit more uneven. Like that-ish. Still need to come back to this kind of mix over here. Maybe like that. Maybe more like that. So now I just want to take some water, a little bit more than that, and come up. And kind of soften those edges a bit, although maybe that's softening too much. Like that. All right. Yeah, I'm not going to say anything about that bottom there, so it just is what it is. We'll see what we can do with that. So I think I want to make another pass and just kind of deepen up like the top and the side areas. But in order to do that, because this is just damp and this is wet, we need to dry and then re-wet. Rinse, repeat. So since this water is like tinted, you know, I'm going to just use the dirty water and re-wet. And I'm going to wipe it off each time so I don't take paint with me. And there I started to take some paint with me. But that's okay. All right, so now I'm going to just go in with some really dark value, Payne's Gray, and just paint along here. But I'm also going to do it in the stripes because I really want just the dark up at the top here. Except for over here, I just want a little tiny bit on the side. Right? Because of how much water is on here, I'm having a harder time seeing. I do want some lighter blue stripes still going up there. And I just want a kiss of light. And then more dark over here. And I'm going to try and soften and preserve some of these stripes in this area, some color variations. I'm going to try and blend this down a little bit. And I'm going to come in with some Prussian blue. And I can see actually better by looking at the screen. Kind of blend in with this. And still go add some deeper values down in here. Do you want it to blend, right? I just need to soften those up, and I think I'm going to go smaller. So kind of ish like that. I am going to call that done. I'm not messing with it anymore. If you look at the image that I'm kind of basing this off of, you'll get a pretty good idea. Still, add some just lighter value Prussian blue here at the bottom. Just so it plays a little bit nicer. Did it play nicer? It didn't. So yeah, remember when I said I was done? I was wrong. I was wrong. After this, I'm totally done though. All right. These are too uniform. That's just a little bit better. Anyway, you get the idea. And if you look at that image, you'll get a better idea of where I'm trying to taking a certain section here and then another section here and kind of putting them together. Alrighty then. Now what I'm gonna do is just add some deeper kind of shades in here. And I actually need to clean this because if I add blue into orange, we're in trouble. So let me just switch out this clean water quickly. Be right back. So, yeah. Now, I'm not really sure what to do, right? I'm not really sure. I do have some paint in here and in here. I'm going to clean out, and I'm just going to go between a couple of colors and kind of just add contrast to this nebula. I'm never going to get it to be realistic. I just need you to understand what it's supposed to be. So I am going to fill a well with New Gamboge, which is the color that's down there now. And then I'm also going to take some deep gold. And we're almost done. Looks like it's a 3-hour stream today. And I'm just going to wet, like, some of this blue is going to move, right? I'm just going to follow where this sky is, right? And oh, my tape has come up. I do not want that. I'm going to reactivate this paint, and I'm going to bring it up to meet the sky here. And it doesn't have to be perfect. But I want it to stay wet. So I'm just going to keep cleaning off my brush. Keep grabbing new water. And just follow as much as I can. And where this blue is reactivated, it's fine. It's gonna kind of blend in and be like a shadow, and I can add some darker color along that line. But I want it to stay wet, so make sure to add plenty of water. And I put the when I first made this whole orange part, I did it really thick, very creamy, a lot of pigment, not a lot of water. And I did that so that I could do this. I could reactivate it. I'm also going to take some Aussie red gold and mix it in here so I can get like an in-between color. And I'm going to, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this accurately, so I'm just going to drop it in certain areas. And I'm going to let it do its thing and move around. And on top of that, I'm going to drop in some of this deep gold. And I'm only going to do it in the areas where I've put this kind of like middle color, right? And this is all very wet. It's going to move around a lot. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some transparent brown oxide. I'm going to add some in here and deepen this color up. And then I'm going to drop this in small places. I'm going to take clean water and make everything play nicely together. Where there is some of this blue peeking through, I'm going to concentrate some of this brown, even if it goes up into the blue. Right? I don't see any other big spots of brown, blue peeking through. So wet brush, play nice. I don't want as much like this spider webbing happening here. But I want it to look kind of chaotic. And I do want some of this light to really poke through. So I will go through with the dry brush and remove paint that has moved in that area so that there's like some really good contrast. Just kind of throughout. And everything is still pretty wet, so even when I take stuff away, it's going to kind of fill in. I'm going to take some more brown and I'm going to get some more brown. Oh, that was purple. Okay, I'm going to take some brown and mix it with that purple and get a darker brown. No, that was purple again. Look at me. Here we go. This is brown. And now I need even more to counteract this purple. I want it darker than that, so not darker. I want it more concentrated. Which in turn makes it darker. So things are still wet, but they're not going to move around too much. And I'm just adding some depth into some of the areas with this more concentrated and mix of purples and browns. And that looks like red, doesn't it? But it's actually not too far off from the picture. So I'll take a little bit of this new gamboge. It's not going to do a lot right now, but as I make things nice, it's going to add a little bit in. I think I'm kind of overthinking this a bit, so I'm just going to sporadically add some texture. And call it a day. And it looks really, really red on the screen. Like almost maroonish. But in under these lights in real life, it definitely is more brown. I'm just going to use my clean water and give that a good rinse. Preserve my tip as much as I can. And now we need stars again. So I'm going to put some more white gouache and I'm going to use a smaller brush. And this is pretty thick, so I'm going to see what happens. I'm going to clean it off and add more water because it's going everywhere but the painting. Yep, I still have more in my shirt. So this is pretty creamy, but it should work better. Or maybe it's just this brush too. But while I have this, I'm going to make some bigger circles. Because there are a number of stars that are really kind of taking focus with lines and stuff. So I'll do that, and then I'll switch brushes again. See if I can get better. Yes. Oop. That was just water, which isn't a bad thing. I mean, you're seeing, like, in this photo, so many galaxies in the background. And you're seeing stars on top of the nebula. Ugh, getting it all over myself. According to NASA, all of these pinpricks that you see in the photos, there are other galaxies. So now I'm going to take my size 0, grab some very creamy gouache, take some off, and then make these really bright. And these are actually in 6s, so I'm going to do it this way. Putting my hand in wet stars. I'm just trying to make these points like pointier. And I failed. Ish. So I'm going to do the same thing with all of these. But I'm going to, because I can do it better a certain way, I'm going to keep turning the paper. Yeah, like this. And obviously the real ones are way better than I can paint, but gives you the idea. Mine are cartoony. The real ones are awesome. But Ugh. Like that. And I think while I'm here with this small brush, I'm going to add little dots here. I'm going to pick some of these places that didn't can blend or come out so well. And I'm going to put a star there. I'll do the same thing, but these are going to be on a smaller scale. And just add some sparkly stars. I think that's enough. There's actually way more in the picture, and there are different colors and different hues, but so the unveiling, we're gonna have some paint messed up down here because the tape came up, but actually look at that, we didn't. So cool. I hope you've had a chance to search that picture so that you can see what I was trying to accomplish with these kind of vertical stripes versus this one. Let me just move stuff around so I can get everything in focus here. This one is more horizontal, this one is vertical. And this one was just a I don't know what you want to call this one. This is not my favorite, but I do like this one, even though it has like more of a horizontal sky. And I think I need obviously more practice with this one versus what I'm looking at in the picture, but I think this could work for night skies. Kind of going vertical instead of a typical horizontal. I think it could definitely work. Needs more practice. But I think it could work. And I think it's interesting, and I think it was really fun to do, actually. as well. So that's going to be it for me today. We have a galaxy that kind of became a little muddy mess. We have just a typical, I don't know, would you call that a night sky or a sun? It wouldn't be a sunset, be after sunset, right? Night sky. And then the nebula, the latest nebula photo from the Webb telescope. So this was very interesting and fun to do. And I do like how it came out. But just evaluating, I think these lines now are too thick and too separated. But that's me trying to be a perfectionist, and I'm trying to get rid of that part. So I like it, meh. And that's going to be it for me for today. I need to get up and walk around because my knees are stiff. Oh my goodness. So I hope everyone has a great weekend. I will be back on Tuesday, I believe. I don't think there's any reason why I wouldn't. I'll update the schedule if anything happens, but I think that's really about it for me. I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Relax, enjoy yourself, get creative, and yeah, that's it for me. Take care. Bye-bye.